where we stopped. So you can see if you go to File Explorer, you can open the my document and the file we saved. You can see that it have saved them all. And so this is the detailed drawing. As you can see, there are quite so many of it. As I said before, so when you save, give it a little bit of time to generate all the drawings because it generates the images. And then again, this is the calculation sheet. Okay, so that is the second way I have shown that you can save your design document. Now, the third option I'm going to show is you can also save these documents separately. You can save the documents individually. What I mean by that is that you can save the title block drawings, and then you separate. You can save the calculation sheet separate. You can also save the AutoCAD, so you can choose and pick what you need. Okay. Now, before we save this separately, okay, you could also choose to edit the paper sizes. Okay, I think by default the software works with A3 landscape, where you can actually edit the paper size that you want to use. So if you under File and you click on Paper Setup, okay, you could set the paper size that you want to use. So there are predefined sizes that you can start with. Like this is A3 landscape, a DPI. You can change that as you go on. I will start with this one, A3 landscape, 3 DPI. Okay. Then you can also set the margin. I'll use 20, and then you can also set the DPI as we have seen. So the DPI is 3, but I can use 2. Now, if you want to export to PDF, you can use 1, but we'll look at that later. Okay. So as I said, this DPI is all about if you want to the quality of this thing, of the image that is generated by the software. DPI2 is what the default setting usually use, but you can make it 3 if you want the image to be bigger, to be more sharper, but 2 is just okay. So we'll leave it at 2. And then the background, now the background is white, so it's black and white basically. So you can set these settings by yourself. You can tweak them however you want. So now we have done that, we can now export the drawing. So first of all, I will say export title block drawing. Then I can say export all the title block drawing as an image, or I can export the displayed title block. In fact, we come back to this later. Okay, so but for now we use this, and then again I can create another folder for this. Okay, I'll just call it 3. Just create a new folder. This is folder is client 3, ABCD3, and then I can just call it QS10 design, probably drawing 3. Okay, and then you click save. So the software will go ahead and save the drawing, and it will save all the pages. Okay, so we just give it a little bit of time, it will get the work done. So if we go back into my document, you can see that the client tree we created, you can see all the drawing has been saved. Okay, so if you open this, so you can actually see the drawing is done. Okay, so that's how the software does that. Um, so that's and then for the calculation sheet, you do the same thing. But before I do that, I actually want to kind of save, do something, before I go to calculation sheet. Now, there are some times that the drawing can be probably like 200 pages of drawing. So in that case, it might take the software a little bit of time to generate all those details at once. Okay. So you can kind of choose to do them in bits. And what I mean by that is this: I can, if I go to this place, I will just zoom in a little bit. If I go to uh, this brings up all the structural views. You can do the same thing by going to view, and then you click on structural view, or in this case we're interested in title block view, so I click on the title block view. I can say view few title block at a time. Okay. I will select where I want to start. Let's say I want to start from here, so I'll just click view few of them at a time. I can select the number of pages I want. So number of pages before is 0, number of pages after, okay? And then it's 3. So it will just, show 3 pages after this. Now, in this case, we want to, let's say, assuming we want to like grab like probably 20 pages after that, okay? And then so we can save them in batches of 20s. Okay, so I'll click view again. So as you can see, I have all the 20 pages before and after, so 20 pages after. So if we want 20 pages at the dot, so in that case we'll be saying 19, so that will be 119 after what we have before. So click on view. So that's it. Yeah, so that is the 10. So you click on view and it will, so we have this 19 pages. Click on few of them. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So we have 20 pages. Okay. Don't worry about what the software does again in order to minimize the amount of information or to make it faster. So if the drawing is much more big, if we have so many drawings on the screen, especially the title block, it kind of like represent each title block with a rectangle, just to reduce the amount of objects on the screen, and by so doing, making the software even faster. But as you zoom in, definitely you can see it comes into view. Okay, that's one trick that we use to kind of make the drawings kind of faster. Anyway, okay, so the next thing again now is that we now save these 20 pages. Okay, you can always notice where you stopped. In this case, we stopped at foundation layout. Okay, so page 1, foundation layout, page 1. So that's where we stopped. So by the time we pick it up, you can now know how to continue. So we go to file again, and then I can now click save, export title block drawing, export displayed title block drawing as an image. So what this we do is that it will export only the display, this 20 that we have on display. That's the only thing to export. So it's kind of like a good method. The reason why I'm doing this is that because sometimes you might have up to like say 200 or 300 pages. Now to export 300 pages at once, it might take the system a little bit, except if you have a very, very fast system, then it will do it. But many people don't really have that very fast machine. So the best thing to do, if you have like 200 pages or 300 pages, it's better to save them in batches of like 50 or 20. Okay, so in this case, I'll say only export what is displayed. The title block display, that is what to export. So I'll click this. In fact, to show the same thing, I'll create another folder. I'll just copy this because I don't want to repeat typing it. I'll call this 4, or I can just call this page, say page 1 underscore 20. Okay, and then so I'll open that, give it a name, just call it QS10 design drawing. Just say design drawing. Drawing, I can just say P1 to 20. Okay, so then I'll click save. Then it will save this much more quicker. If I go back here, that is this. So you can see it's just come straight. So this is page 1 to 20, as you can see. So stop at 20. So if I pick it up again, I will just come back here. In fact, I can even do it from here. Let's see. We stopped at the foundation layout, which is this one, to confirm. So this is page 1, but we need it to start from that is the details, that is page 2, because we stopped at page 1 in the other one. So we pick this up at page 2. So you can also check here where we stopped. We stopped at page 21. Okay, that's third floor general arrangement. Actually, if you come here, you can see third floor general arrangement is almost here. So that is this one. Okay, so you can see the page here is a little bit different from the page on the screen. The reason is the data sheet has its own different page number. In fact, if we have not included data sheet, the page will synchronize. Okay, but it's just to know where you stopped. So that next will continue. So the next, I will now save this one that is on display. Okay, so it starts from here, which is the second page, all the way to here, 21. So do the same thing again, and then give it a file name. We are using export display title block drawing as an image. So I can just take this up and say from page 21, that's from page, in this case, we're saying page 21 to 40. Okay, so I'll click save again, and it will just populate it. It will just do it. You can see it's quite very quick. So this is from page 21. So as you can see, that is this. So the next again, we also save from. So the next, of course, we take the next page, which is from the third floor. So so go all the way to the third floor for arrangement. But that's what we have here, third floor for arrangement. So you select that. So that should start from page 22. This is page 21, but we have already done the third floor. So we'll be looking at the next page after that. So that should be page 22. So you save that again. So that's how you save them batch by batch. Okay, you can do the same thing with the title block the same way. Okay, we might not need to do that now, but you can save the title block separately just using the same method. I think I'll do that. So you can see in this case now, go back again. I'll click on displayed. So in this case, where do I stop? I stopped at I can just find it. That's here. So it's from 41 now to 60. This is 41 to 60. Now you don't need to do this, but I'm just showing in extreme cases where you need to. And again, you can do them in badge of 50. I'm just using badges of 20, chunk of 20, but you can do it in chunks of 50. But this is kind of like showing ways that you can take control of the software should in case you are trying to use the automatic design to save the project. And because the project file has so many, the detailed drawings are so many that the software is struggling to save it. So this is how you can, save them batch by batch. And that is why this option is built in the first place, so that you can be able to still get your detailed drawing saved. Okay, so if we go back again, you can see, yeah, it's done. So we have it. You can still do the same thing by saving it in, batch of 20, or, batch of 50 or batch of 100. You can actually do the same. Okay, so next, of course, we save the calculation sheet. So saving the calculation sheet, again, you can save it direct. In this case, it will save all the calculation sheet. Or you can save only what is displayed. The calculation sheet is a little bit lighter anyway. It's not as heavy as the calculation as the detailed drawing. But in this, let me just say, just save the calculation sheet. Okay. Before I do that, so I don't confuse anyone, I'll just bring out the calculation sheet. View calculation sheet. This is the calculation sheet. Okay, so you can choose to save them in batches also. You can say this view calculation sheet, I can say starting from page 1. Because this one is synchronized because it's calculation sheet. Starting from page 1, I can say also view few of them, and then I can say save display 100 of them at a time. Okay, in this case 99. That is starting from the first one. So I just click on view. So it's all displayed. So this is the calculation sheet. So we can save the calculation sheet in batches. We can save them in a group of 100. But the option give us, you can save the entire thing with this first option. You can say export calculation sheet, and you click on, remember you access this under files, okay? Under files, yeah, and you click on export calculation sheets. I will do the first one. Okay, so I'll click on this. Just go back to this. I can just create a new folder and call the folder so QS10 design calculation. Okay, for client ABC. Okay, and dice call it 1, and then you open the folder, double click to open the folder, and you give it a file name. So QS10 design, so this is design calc for calculation 1. Okay, so I will save. Now this will now save all. Remember, as I said, using this option we save all the calculation sheet. And of course the next option, so if we go back, let's see how quick is doing that. This is calculation. Okay, you can see it's pretty quick also. But the reason why now this does the entire thing, but the next example is if you want to save them in batches, like in this case a batch of 100. Now we have about 300 pages, so which again it took the software in a record time. It got it done quite very quickly. And but in other instances, you might need to especially if you have like up to 1,000 pages, then you might need to definitely take them in batches of 100 or 200, depending on whichever way you like. And again, for the calculation sheet, you could also, when you are saving it, you could also change this. You can actually change it to A4. And again, remember, you can use the predefined, and I don't think we have an A4 in the predefined setting. No, it's only A3 that is there, but you can select any one, and you can, like in this case, I want to be a portrait. You can select any of the settings, and then you change to whatever you want. So this is A4, it's portrait. I just want 20, the margin, and then DPI, I just want it to be 2. Okay, and for calculation, because there is a plain text, you can actually make it 1. Now I'll show you the difference. Hopefully that will happen. So you can see, if you notice the dimension here, it's 149 by 2246 pixel. So that's quite a very large file. Of course, the reason if the bigger the file size, the pixel size, I mean, you can zoom in as much as you want, and it still looks quite very crisp and very nice. But if you reduce the DPI to 1, it will still come out, but when you zoom, but the reason why you might need to do that, assuming if you you want a much more smaller file size, so that especially when you export to PDF, we'll talk about that later in a different video, but we're almost getting there anyway. So I'm using DPI 1. Okay, so, and you can save. Now I will use that to save the batches anyway. I just want to save only the display calculation sheet. So I'll click on this. Then I'll just go back again. Just take this up. Just want to copy so I don't repeat the typing anyway. So I'll change this to 2, and then open the 2. Then call it QS10 design. You can give it any name you want. It's not important. Design calc 2. Okay. I can also say page 1 underscore 100. Okay. And I'll click save. Then if I go back, then open this while it's saving, so you can see it's all saved. And if you noticed, this is where I actually did the DPI 1. If you notice, you can see the dimension is showing 748 by 1123. So the dimension is smaller, you know. Again, if you also look at the file size generated, you can see it's 80.5, so it's much more kilobyte, so it's much more smaller. But the thing is, if you open it, if you zoom, you can still see it, but as you zoom more, it starts being a little bit crisp. So that is the thing, but of course you can still see your calculation sheet. So again, we'll talk about this later when we go over to saving as a PDF, okay? Because that is where it becomes important. But for now, it's not important. So we have our page 1 to 100. Okay. So as you can see, I've shown you how you can save the title block by itself using all the sheets, or using the displayed title blocks. I'm just going to save only what is displayed. We have done that with the we have also done that with the calculation sheet. Now, this third option is a little bit different. We might not necessarily need to do that. It's more like if you're trying to save the title block as a grid, what that does, that it will put as many sheets into like a one page as possible, but we don't need to do that. You can explore by yourself later. The next thing we will do is to export to export the drawing to AutoCAD. Now, again, I can just bring up the title block again. Okay, so this is our title block. This is where we stopped the last time. Okay, in fact, before I do this, I could also change the design. I'm not changing the design. Run the design again. But in this case, I will remove the data sheet. So things will kind of like start with, I'll just click automatic design and then click yes. I just want the pages to start from page 1. That is the sheets. And so the data sheet is not there. So you can see the foundation layout starts as page 1. Okay. Now, so we'll go back to saving the project. So click on File, So I could save the entire drawing, all the pages, to AutoCAD. Okay. Now this will save normal and this will save exploded. Okay. Now it's going to save them as a DSF. So when you open AutoCAD, you can look at it. So I'll click on Save as AutoCAD DSF. Remember, you click on File, then click on Export/Import DSF drawing. And then again, I'll create a folder. Okay. I always like to create a folder for my document so that I don't look for it or I don't look for the document. So I'll just, to save myself time, I'll just copy this, create a new folder, and then design documents, drawing, or design DSF. I'll just call it design DSF. Okay, just call it 1. Okay, then open the folder, and then just call this QS10 design and DSF for client. Okay, just call it for ABC so we don't waste the time. Okay, so just call this 1, then you save. If we go back, open the, you can see the DSF file is created. Okay, so that's basically how and then you can open this in AutoCAD. I don't have AutoCAD in my system, so I'm not bothered anyway, because again, with the new QS10, I don't necessarily need AutoCAD. I mean, it generates the drawings I need anyway. Okay, so, but in case you need AutoCAD, you can see you can open this in AutoCAD. So it's quite straightforward, say DSF, and then from there, you can do anything that you want to do. Okay, so that is exporting that. Okay, and you can also export untitled drawing. What that means is that you are exporting the untitled drawing itself. That means without the title block, in case you want to deal with it, but that is what is only displayed that you can do. Okay, so the next, of course, is again, if the drawing is again here, you can, as we have said before, you can export as exploded. So the next, of course, is that you can, what we did with the image, you can also do with AutoCAD. You can export only the displayed. Now, this becomes important if the drawing is really, really, really big. Okay. In this case, as you can see, it's not necessarily a very big drawing, because you can see it's just only 1.3 kilobyte, 1.28 megabytes. So it's not a big drawing, but sometimes if the drawing is extremely very big, so exporting a very, very big file becomes not too good idea. So you might have to do it in batches. So in that case, I'll go to View, bring up the title block. Okay, so you can see, let's say I have like probably I want to do 50 pages this time around. So in that case, 49. Then click View. So that will give me, so just go back and click on View. Yeah, so that's it. So it's done. So you can see I have about 50 pages displayed. So yeah, so I can export this displayed pages to AutoCAD. So go back to File and click on Display. Export only the displayed title block drawing to AutoCAD. Okay, you can do the same with the calculation sheet, and you can do the same with the untitled drawing sheet. Okay, but you have to bring up the untitled drawing before you can do that. So in this case now, so this is I'm just exporting displayed titled drawing to AutoCAD. Okay, click this again, and then I just call it 2. And then that's it. My file is saved. It's coming. Let's go back. So it will just save that to AutoCAD. That's the way you save it. So you export the displayed title block drawing to AutoCAD, and you just save it. Okay. Now, if you want to save untitled drawing, first of all, you have to bring up the untitled drawing. So all you need to do is go to View, and then you go to Structural View, and you can click on View Normal Detailed Drawing. So this is the normal detailed drawing. You can see there's no title block in them. So you can actually export this to AutoCAD. So okay, we'll go back and see the file has finished saving. You can see it have exported the drawing to AutoCAD. So we have about 7.87 megabyte. So this is just the titled. So and again, it exports both the the first one is exploded, and sorry, the first one is unexploded, and the second one is, I think the second one is unexploded, and the first one is exploded. So the DSF has been exported. Okay, so for you to export untitled, okay, untitled drawing to AutoCAD, you can see the drawing is untitled, so you can export it to AutoCAD. You can bring it out, and you can do the same thing we did, and then export it to AutoCAD. Okay, just the displayed. Now this, of course, exports both the exploded and unexploded drawing, okay, to AutoCAD, and that is the titled one, and this will do the same thing, the displayed calculation sheet, and this will export the displayed drawing to AutoCAD. Okay, so in that case, if you want to do that, like for the untitled this thing, so as we said, you have to bring it out, go to View, you can bring out the so when you click the normal drawing list, and then you can select where you want to start, in this case say from 1, and then you can say show a few of them. Let's say we want to take about 50, 49 in a row. And then you click on view few again. So that's it. So that's it. So it's displayed. And then you can actually export this. So it will export the entire thing in this case. So what we'll do, go back to this file, and then you click export untitled, and you click that. In this case, I can say just select this, just call it 3, and then click File, and give it some time to save, and it will export it as to DSF as untitled. In that case, you want to put the title block by yourself. Okay, that is the end of this video. It's quite a very long video, but it explains quite a lot on how you can save your design document, the different methods that you can save the design document. The next thing we look at is how do you save your work to PDF. Okay, thank you very much.